माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव हरि माधवा
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 ओम नमो नारायण ओम नमो नारायण
ओम नमो नारायण ओम नमो नारायण
गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंदा
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 ओम नमो नारायण ओम नमो नारायण
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 केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव
केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव हरि केशव
माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव हरि माधवा
माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव हरि माधव
गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंदा
गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंद हरि गोविंदा
ओम नमो नारायण ओम नमो नारायण
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 ओम नमो नारायण
ओम नमो नारायण
ओम नमो नारायण
ओम नमो नारायण
ओम नमो नारायण
ओम नमो नारायण
ये श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय
जय
सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय
जय
गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी
गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी
गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी
गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी
गोविंद गिरिधारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
गोविंद गिरिधारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
गोविंद गिरिधारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
गोविंद गिरिधारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी
गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी
गोविंद गिरिधारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
गोविंद गिरिधारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
श्याम सुंदर मदन मोहन वृंदावन बिहारी
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 वृंदावन बिहारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
वृंदावन बिहारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
वृंदावन बिहारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
वृंदावन बिहारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी
गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी
गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी
गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी
गोविंद गिरिधारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
गोविंद गिरिधारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
गोविंद गिरिधारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
गोविंद गिरिधारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
श्याम सुंदर मदन मोहन वृंदावन बिहारी श्याम सुंदर मदन मोहन वृंदावन बिहारी वृंदावन बिहारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी वृंदावन बिहारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी गोविंद गिरिधारी गोविंद गिरिधारी ये वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। भज मन राधे गोविंदा भज मन राधे गोविंदा भज मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
भज मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
भज मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
भज मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
भज मन गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
मन गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
भज मन गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
मन गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
भज मन वृंदावन संचारी
मन वृंदावन संचारी
भज मन वृंदावन संचारी
मन वृंदावन संचारी
भज मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
भज मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
भज मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
भज मन यमुना तीर विहारी
मन यमुना तीर विहारी
भज मन यमुना तीर विहारी
मन यमुना तीर विहारी
भज मन राधा चेतोहारी
मन राधा चेतोहारी
भज मन राधा चेतोहारी
मन राधा चेतोहारी
भज मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
भज मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
भज मन राधे गोविंदा
मन राधे गोविंदा
भज मन गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
मन गोवर्धन गिरिधारी
भज मन वृंदावन संचारी
मन वृंदावन संचारी
भज मन यमुना तीर विहारी
मन यमुना तीर विहारी
भज मन राधा चेतोहारी
मन राधा चेतोहारी
भज मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
भज मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
मन राधे 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 गोविंदा
भज मन राधे गोविंदा
मन राधे गोविंदा
भज मन राधे गोविंदा
मन राधे गोविंदा
भज मन राधे गोविंदा बोलिए राधा और कृष्ण कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। श्री कृष्ण शरणं मम, 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 शरणं मम, शरणं मम, शरणं मम, शरणं मम, बोलिए श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
Hari Om everyone. Can you all hear me clearly? Awesome. Good to see all of you. Hope your last week was awesome. Mine was busy. Making phone calls, trying to arrange, trying to be there for several families back in India. Hope your families back in India are doing well and have an accommodating environment. I think after 2 weeks, still it has to hit a balance. Hope it will hit in another week or so. Are you all doing well? Awesome. Good. Are you all ready for the questions? I mean, this is kind of not, I would have loved a spontaneous question answer session wherein I ask questions and but you have the questions for a long time, so you should be prepared. The idea being that there is a a systematic thinking developed through this, so that we go through that text again and again, and the beautiful pointers there we try to imbibe and try to resonate well with. So we will start with 3 Oms, Sahana Bhavatu Guru Brahma, and then we will open it up with question answers. ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः So I'll be seeking the help of both Brahmacharini Divya and Brahmachari Hari, so that they can spotlight. Don't replace the spotlight, add the spotlight. Thank you. And we will begin. I'm just trying to scan through all the names. Cool. Okay, let's start with Avani. Hari Om Avani.
Hari Om.
Doing well?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So let's start with the first question to you. In this second chapter, there is an equation given with which we are told there are two ways to increase happiness. But which of them will lead to independence and freedom, and why?
Sure. So the two ways that were discussed, the first way would be by increasing the number of desires that you're fulfilling. And the second way would be to decrease the total number of desires that you have altogether. And it's the second way, eliminating all of your desires, that would give true independence and freedom. And that's because in that case, I would no longer be dependent on anything outside or external to bring me happiness. Um, if I'm just increasing the number of desires that I'm fulfilling, it's only a temporary like stopgap measure, because the more I fulfill my desires, new ones will keep popping up, and so I'll still be dependent on objects in the outside world to bring me happiness. So if I reduce my desires altogether, I'll be free from that dependence.
So it is the second one, in reducing the desires. Let me bring in Divya. Would you want to add something?
No, I think she got it very well. And I had to give one analogy, like the itch, right?
If I keep itching the itch gets worse. There's more damage done. Whereas when I take a balm and cure the itch, then it's resolved. So the second method of reducing the number of desires is curing the root cause of our bondage, whereas fulfilling more desires is only continuing to feed into the itch that's there.
So it's an eczema. Okay, thank you. Let us bring in Meena Mana.
Hi, I'm Samji.
Hari Om.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yes, happy Mother's Day. Though I believe every day should be a Mother's Day. Without mother, nothing moves forward.
Yes. Jagan Mata.
In Hindi, I would have said, माँ का स्पेशल दिन नहीं होता, हर दिन माँ से ही होता है. The punch in Hindi, I can't translate it into English, which is what I explained before I said it. But happy Mother's Day. So the question for you is, in the very beginning of the chapter, we are told that there are these two things, dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti. How are they different if they both are impulses sparking me to act?
They're different because dukkha nivritti requires a certain amount of patience in letting something go, while sukha prapti is enjoying what we get.
So let's hear it out from Brahmachari Hari, if you want to add.
Hey everybody, good to see everyone. So when it comes to seeking happiness, oftentimes there's the phrase of coming in clutch, where everything seems to be going wrong, 11th hour, from somewhere I have to pull out some kind of success and just to survive. I consider that happiness at that point. But really, is that sukha prapti? Did I seek something to be happy, or did I just avert disaster the best I could, procrastinate as long as I could, didn't plan enough, and somehow eke something out so I was okay? That's merely dukkha nivritti then. And the really sad part is, if I ask myself honestly, the happiness that I feel on the daily basis, whenever I feel it, is it really sukha prapti, or am I just averting disaster time after time, not learning from my mistakes then? So understanding that difference, then I can really see, am I going for happiness or just barely scraping by and thinking that's happiness? It's like the story, the parable of the young man who he grew up in a poor household, never drank milk before. It was always the mom would mix flour or something in water, mix it up and say, here's milk. He went out for the first time and he had milk. And he was like, oh my gosh, this is milk? Like the entire time growing up, he thought that was milk, and he had it for the first time, his mind was blown. So when dukkha nivritti is all we know time after time, real sukha prapti is just something unimaginable at that point.
So the translation of it is, in experience, dukkha nivritti is a sense of relief, whereas sukha prapti is to not just have that joy, but also to have the momentum to enjoy it. So that would be the major difference in these two. Thank you both. Now let's see the next one. Sanjana. Hari Om Sanjana. Can't hear you, ma.
I'm gonna come back in.
No, now I could hear you.
Oh, okay. So you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know.
Yay. You cannot escape the question. Okay. This is like tying down the chapter 1 and chapter 2. How does the art of right contact lead to quietening of our mind?
So in chapter 1, we talked about the right of art, the art of right contact. Sorry. The art of right contact. One of the best ways to use that to quieten our mind is to be grateful and to show gratitude that any difficult situation that comes into our lives is just to be grateful to that as an opportunity to grow. So using that same gratitude in everything that we're doing and being even desires as they come by, using that gratitude to turn it into something that's higher, or saying like, I'm gonna transition this desire to be something that's going to help more people. So trying to use that gratitude in the way we shape our desires is what I think.
That was good. Let me ask if Divya wants to add to it.
Sure. When I had thought of the right contact, I went back to the situation, problem, crisis analogy, right? And I thought to myself that right contact means that we're taking our likes and dislikes out of the situation, that I'm analyzing what's in front of me in terms of what is required. And can I raise myself to answer to those responsibilities and duties? So by continually focusing on what does the situation demand and what is the solution, and keeping focused on that removes my selfish perspective in do I like it, do I dislike it. So our focus shifts away from likes and dislikes and to the focus of what's required. So by doing that, you're not feeding that flame of or itch, right? And so that should lead to quietening the mind, because we're not focusing on ourselves, we're focusing on what's required.
Very good. I've got nothing to add. I think you both covered it. Thank you both. Let me ask the next question to Ujwal.
Hariam Swamiji.
Hari Om Ujwal. Baunara?
Bhavana.
So your question is, if happiness is subjective, personalized, and a state of being, right? Though in the question it was said state of mind, it is actually state of being. So state of being, why should I follow scriptural directions to be happy?
Yeah. This was actually something I thought about before our discussion of self-fulfillment and everything. But the scriptural studies are based on the experiences, and they come first of all from the highest of the highest sources, which is like Bhagavan himself, and Bhagavan has designed. He's the creator, the progenitor of this world, and so his advice, and especially in like Bhagavad Gita, all that, his advice is essential for our success and helping us to escape like the Maya. But also a lot of scriptures are based on the experiences of Mahatmas, like all the rishis that lived in ancient India thousands of years ago. And just like us, they have gone through this whole process of samsara. They've like lived through the life, and they have come to realize how best to live life so as to be happy, to minimize suffering. They, through this entire process of like thousands of years, they realized how it is to be happy and how it is to minimize suffering. And they have already gone through the effort of designing a way of life and like coming up with like advice that will help you achieve happiness. Why do you have to put that effort in yourself if someone else has already done it for you? So like by looking at what scriptural advice is, you can see what is what is the way others have done it in the past, and how can I apply that to my life right now?
Let me invite Hari Chaitanya.
I would just add that even if we're not looking at that highest standpoint of what happiness is, even at the levels where I'm bound by tamas, rajas, and sattva, even there in Bhagavad Gita it's given, there's a delineation between what sattvic sukha is and rajasic sukha. And it's said that rajasic sukha is that which is like very, very sweet at first, but then it's like nectar in the beginning and it turns into poison later. While sattvic sukha is like poison at first, then is like nectar. So rajasic sukha, on demand, I want something, have the ability to go get it, and I get it right away. And that makes me happy because on demand, my desires are fulfilled. But then getting addicted to them, being sorrowful, that completely breaks me down later on, turns into poison. On the other hand, sattvic sukha, at first, disciplining my mind, self-control. I want something, I have the ability to get it, but I have to tell my mind, not right now, don't go for this. That is like poison at first. It's awful. But only scriptures show me how that can turn into nectar, how going by what scripture says can make me happy so that I stay at that sattvic level of happiness so that I can rise even higher than that.
To add one more dimension to all this discussion here, I would say that when we say scriptures, the actual word that we are referring to is shastra. Shastra means that which gives us the principles of direction in life. When I say principles, it is not something that which gets validated when I have trust in it, I believe in it. It would have the same impact and influence even if I did not trust it. Oh, you mean to say if I don't trust it, still it will have an influence on me? It's like, say, the principle of electricity. I've never seen electricity. I don't know what electricity is. And I touch the live wire. What will be my experience? I'll have a shocking revelation. Right? Supposing I am somebody who knows how to work around with these electrical gadgets when I'm soldering it, fixing it, and I inadvertently touch it, it'll still have the same effect because the principle there meaning siddhanta, that siddhanta of electricity, it flows wherever there is least resistance available, and we hardly provide any resistance, so it freely flows through us and we get that shocking revelation. Whether I believe in it or not, that there is gravity or not, gravity still has that effect on me. It is not dependable variable on my belief system. It is the statement of fact, truth. And that is what it is pointing at. And it can be something that can be tested, checked, implemented in a meticulous order. So that is where that structure, that siddhanta through the scriptures, give us a very clear direction. There also, that reason also why we need that when we understand the scriptures, and as I was saying last week as well, whenever we are going through the scriptures, there is never a generation of teacher and taught in our Hindu way of life, in our Sanatana Dharma, wherein it has been ordained that you will believe something because it is said by the scripture or a Mahatma or a Rishi or a Guru. In fact, the Guru challenges you by saying that do not just accept it because I have said so. Go experiment with it. Try, check. So there is this very beautiful anecdotal, there is Indra, and the Daitya's leader, I'm forgetting the name. Hari, you can remind me if you remember. Virochana. Huh. If these two go to Brahmaji, and Brahmaji, they said, give us the jnana. He says, consider your body as Atma. Both of them go investigate, do tapas, understand, come back. Virochana says, I think I got it, and he leaves. So who is Daitya? Those who are identified with their body and consider that this body is their true nature or self, they're definitely Daitya. Daitya is not somebody who has bad hair, big eyebrows, and bad mustache and looks huge. No, that is not Daitya. That is how in the movies and other places we see. Daitya is somebody who has this bodily identification. Whereas Indra says, I don't think so. And he gives his logic. To that Indra, Bhagavan Brahmaji says, how about now you try that your prana shakti is yourself. Then he goes investigates. It's only through that investigation, right from that event to this day. And therefore, in following the scriptures, there is no possibility of a dogma to exist in. Why? Because it is not thrust. It is something that I, as a seeker, have to evaluate, understand, and grow. Therefore, also, scriptures would give us that structure for us to plan our life and take it one step at a time, understand it, and evolve. So that is another point that I wanted to add. Thank you both. Now let me invite somebody that we have not seen in the last two. Hari Om Naya.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Doing well?
Yeah. How are you?
Doing awesome. Thank you. Is self-control a way to decrease desires? Why and why not?
Okay, so I think that letting my mind loose and will let it run everywhere, and that will only lead to more anxiety and agitation, and so when I've disciplined my mind and I've actually attained self-control through various practices like satsang, japa, meditation, and mindfulness practices, I'm learning to control my desires and not entertain every desire, but because I've developed that discipline and I've educated my mind to not run everywhere and go fulfilling every desire. So yes, I think that it is a way to decrease desires.
Awesome. Let's hear anything more to be supported by Brahmacharini Divya.
I would say that is definitely the beginning of the self-control, right? As you had said, to teach our mind that it is capable of acting without what it's attached to. But I would add a caution saying that strictly to say I self-control, I'm doing everything because I have to control myself. There's also a moment of pressure cooker situation that I can only control myself for so long, and then I will rebel against myself because I can, right? So how do I prevent that self-control from exploding down the road, right? And I would say that self-control should also be backed by the perspective that the result of my self-control is for something higher and better. So a quick example is I can control saying that I will not have sweets for the next week and a half, right? And I keep looking at the cake and I really want it, but I'm not going to. At some point I will explode. But if I keep reminding myself that it is for a healthier diet, it's for a healthier perspective, and keeping my mind focused on that motivation will actually make the self-control settle and have the right effect that it has, and won't just break later down the road. So yes, self-control shows us that we are capable of doing it, but to sustain it, we have to have that higher perspective. What's it for?
Awesome. A holistic approach. Thank you both. And now let me invite Hemant. Sakema,
Saukyam Samji Hari Om.
Hari Om. So the question for you would be, if I elevate the quality of my desires so that they are predominantly sattvic, do I still need to decrease the number of desires that I entertain? If so, why?
So the answer to excuse me, the answer to that would be yes, definitely it is good to reduce the number of desires entertained, because while sattva is the highest of the three, and having sattvic desires definitely brings out a better state of mind, and being in sattva guna is definitely um, about like the best state to be in. Sattvic desires are still desires which are binding, because sattva guna is, after all, an attachment to happiness, and if that happiness gets taken away, then negativity will come. So one example that I can really say is that at the end of certain retreats, or well, not certain retreats, actually at the end of all retreats that I've been to, when I have to come back to like the secular field and resume my normal work, I have severe withdrawal mode the first couple days, and it's taken me a long time to get out of it. And I definitely remember that feeling very hard after Yep. So definitely, it is still good to reduce the number of desires entertained. Just because sattvic desires are good does not mean that they won't bring like suffering. Because yeah, if they're taken away, then yeah, that leads to sorrow. Which is why I think also we're told to transcend the gunas ultimately for permanent happiness.
Awesome. Harigaru,
Swamiji, I have nothing to add.
man, you nailed it. Hemant, thank you. Okay, let me invite Krishna Priya. Hari Om, Krishna Priya.
Swamiji.
Can you speak a little loudly?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but the volume is low, so just give it a oomph.
Okay. How about now? Yeah. Okay. Actually, wait. Oh, hold on one second. How about now?
I was holding on really tight.
I turned off my fan. Maybe that helped.
Yeah, I think the muffled sound is gone.
Okay.
So the next question to you is, why should I strive forth for more of sattvic attitude over rajasic or tamasic desires? And how do I know which type of desire am I entertaining?
Okay. I think I'll take the second part. I think to know which type of desire, at least for me, I guess you can look at a desire based on whether it's like short term or long term, and also whether it's for like a higher purpose or like a lower purpose. So I'd say that like sattvic desires are based on long term thinking, and they're also for a higher purpose. Like for example, like if you have a desire to serve the community, it's based on long-term thinking because obviously you're setting aside your personal time and effort to serve the community. And also it's obviously for a higher purpose. And then I guess for Rajasic desires, I think they are often really based on long-term thinking, but I don't necessarily think that they're for a higher purpose. Like, for example, if you're looking for like professional like success, you do have to have like a certain amount of discipline and hard work to like achieve like your professional goals, but you don't it's not necessarily for like a higher purpose because it is like a selfish type of desire at the end of the day. And then tamasic desires are like neither like they're short term and for a lower purpose, like procrastination, for example. Like it's not helpful in like the secular world, or you
But
know,
I can nap for a little longer time if I can procrastinate.
yeah, but like it's essentially just for like instant gratification. Like it's not going to help us in like the long run in any kind of way. So I guess that goes to the second part. And the first part was, why are sattvic desires better?
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess because not only are we developing our personality by working by thinking in the long term and like working to achieve long-term goals, but we're also since we're working for a higher purpose, we're reducing the amount of desires that we have, because when we have this higher purpose, we start to crave less material things. I guess we start looking less for happiness in like the material world because we're working for this like overarching purpose. So it's helping us develop our personality and just get closer to like that ultimate goal of like eternal happiness.
Thank you. Let's ask Divya.
Sure. So yes, tamasic desires is like, how can I get out of this? What can I do to not do what I need to do, right? Those are selfish, laziness, inertia type of desires. Rajasic can also be that ambition, right? That I want to be there for the whole community. I want to, reach higher goals, be the best of the best, be the, the best citizen in the, society. And so that energy and more will be there behind Rajasic desires. But Sattvic desires, I thought of one example that would help explain this is when you're washing dishes, right? To wash the dirt off, you need to add soap, right? And that soap will help you get rid of the other dirt. So in the same way, sattvic desires are particular desires that help us remove all others. And you kind of mentioned this in that answer, where by having higher ideal goals or desires, it's helping me drop all the lower ones. So much so that it should ultimately lead me to drop all desires altogether. And Swamiji, correct me if I'm wrong, but an example of this is mumukshutvam, right? The desire to want liberation, to be on this path, to follow the sadhanas. That could be one driving motivator desire to help me drop all others. That I think would separate desires that are rajasic versus sattvic.
One more angle that I would add there is ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्वस्थाः मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः. This comes in Bhagavad Gita. Tamasaha adho gachanti. In the tamasic kind of mindset, which is very self-centered, lazy, lethargic, and least effort put, maximum to reap the benefit, and sometimes callousness, carelessness, that is the lifestyle. And with that lifestyle, it reminds me of a dialogue in a movie that I really love, is from The Matrix, the first one of the trilogies, where there is a dialogue between the AI, one of the three agents, and Morpheus when he's tied down in the chamber where he is being interrogated. There the AI shares, he says, you mammals, he's talking to the humanity, you mammals are unlike any other mammals. You are like a virus on this earth, on this planet. You crawl to a natural resource, use up all the natural resource until it gets depleted, and then crawl to the next one. The tamasic is like that. They leach out of the system, the society, the support, and with the least effort put. So they're not only detrimental to themselves, but also to the environment that they are in. Madhye tishtanti rajasaha. Mediocre is the rajasaha, wherein they will put an effort, but only if there is the carrot. So with them, the carrot and the stick both work. You show them the stick sometimes, you show them the carrot sometimes, and depending on the day and the mood, whichever works, you get them going with it. And still, even if they have to help, it is only if there is certain written scene. That will I get my name? Will I get my fame? Will I get my prominence? Will I get my power? Will I get my authority? Will I get my limelight? So that is the Rajasaha. When we hold on to that which is Sattvic, Urdhvam Gachanti Sattvasthaha, it will lead us to the highest, in the most selfless, disciplined, dedicated environment. And it is not just about Bhagwan and moksha. Here, highest can mean anything which is more than I, me, myself. This egotistical lifestyle, anything beyond, grander, bigger than this very puny lifestyle. So therefore, in Sanskritam, those who dedicate their life for country and its welfare, they are called Desha Bhakta. Their effort is given the status of bhakti. Bhakti is towards the nation, the country, but still the act of dedication is seen as bhakti. Towards humanity, towards ecology, towards something higher, where it is totally selfless, benefiting not just me, I will anyway get benefited. Others also get benefited. So I like one of these beautiful statements. I think Vivekanand said it. It says, Atmano mokshaya jagat hitaya cha. How should that sattvic effort be? Or how is that sattvic effort? That which definitely benefits me to taking me to the highest. Through me, to the world around me, the best, positive, productive, constructive is offered as in return to that seva. So it is not just like how Pujya Gurudev puts it in the pledge, giving more than what we take and producing more than what we can consume. And the attitude is completely changed. It is always inspired and charged up. So that would be the add in to the overall picture that both of you have given. Thank you. Now let me look at Rubini. Hariam Rubini.
Hariam Swamiji.
The question for you is if success according to all material standards still leads to unhappiness, then what exactly is true success?
if success from, all right, let me start over. True happiness is that which is beyond this material world, wherein as life's conditions change and life's challenges present themselves to us, true success is remaining stable and an agent of stability to myself and those around me, such that I will not be compromised by life's challenges, but instead I can remain stable through them and be a vehicle for good work to happen. And so this conception of success is possible by remaining sincere and regular in one's sadhana and recharging and refueling oneself in the face of challenges that come about.
Let me see if Hari Chaitanya wants to add anything to it.
Sure, Swamiji. We're conditioned to be goal-oriented, that there are certain things we should keep in mind that we strive for, and success depends on, do I get that thing or not? It can be a certain salary, a certain title that I want to have, a certain educational qualification. There are different things that we set. And transactionally in the world, we need these things to show progress that we're making. But when it comes to true success then, and Gurudev has said this in one of the ones that always, I rewatch this video on YouTube so many times, I can't get enough of it. When he's talking in the second chapter of Gita on Karma Yoga, where he roars, reaching the goal is not the goal. Striving to reach the goal is the goal, because that's where growth happens. I could be focused on material goals, I could achieve them, but in the process, did I sand down my likes and dislikes? Did I work on the vasanas that are so strongly held? Did I reduce any of my biases that I have? Did I change my outlook about prejudices? If none of these things changed, and if they got strengthened even more, what growth is there? And what use is that material shiny object I have with me, whether it be influence over people, whether it be some kind of respect, what has that done for my personal growth? And that's something I can only know for myself. My parents can't know it for me. My best friend can't know it for me. Whether that growth has happened in that process, only I can know. And that's one thing that's really impactful to me.
This question is a very gambhira question. It has a heaviness to it. So let me if success is not equal to true state of happiness, then that success is very inadequate. There was this very beautiful statement that I had read long time ago. Having climbed the ladder of success, having reached to the pinnacle, realized that it was always on the wrong side of the wall. That I have reached success, but am I successfully happy and happily successful? Both of these aspects have to be taken into consideration. Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji, he says that this whole world is Maya. It's only a mere reflected entity. Even him, when he is speaking in Bhajagovindam, he says, Yal labhase nija karmopatam vittam tena vinodaya chittam. His attitude towards wealth, material successes is not in saying that, don't strive for it. Strive for it from the idea that I am going to find the best of the resources to dig deep within, to reach to that high, Because having reached there, I can give the best. In that, there is contentment. In that, there is fulfillment. In that, there is a sense of peace within. That, whatever I have, these resources, and whatever I have put forth effort, it has a sense of meaningfulness to it. Now, that peace achieved, such a peaceful mind is ready to switch over, turn within. Meaning that peace is the same which we are talking about, purging all the vasanas. We'll come to that word in a couple of chapters. When we were studying, that was a very new word, purging of vasanas. Where Gurudev says, don't try to be in a pressure cooker environment with the vasanas. Give it a room for it to channelize. But this channelization should be in the aim that when I channelize it for the highest good for everyone around me, my welfare is also included in it. It is not that I put this effort only for my welfare and then look for everyone else. When that attitude is taken into consideration and I hit that balance of peace within, in fact, having hit that balance, my productivity and positivity to any environment that I am actively plugged in with will only bear fruits of abundance. So, nutshell, if success is not related to happiness, there will be always a sense of a splinter in our head that is constantly disturbing us, that having done so much, I'm still not very satisfied. There's still some lack within. But when you connect these dots and keep them hand in hand in balance, that is when there is that sense of completeness one can feel. So I'd add that to have a comprehensive picture for that question. Thank you both. I will go for one more question before I can wind up for the day, so that we can have Hanuman Chalisa and Mahamrityunjaya mantra at the end. Let me ask Aparna Pateria. हरिओम अपर्णा.
हरिओम स्वामी जी.
ठीक है,
मजे में.
अरे वाह, ये जवाब सुन के मजा आ गया. Instead of the regular hanging in there, मजे में है. Awesome. So my question for you is, those question seems very simple, पर ये भी बड़ा गंभीर question है. Do I have a responsibility to entertain a certain number of desires for the sake of my loved ones?
If I am in a position of responsibility for those that I love, then I have to understand what that responsibility entails, and everything that those loved ones require become a need. It is not a choice. If I've been given that responsibility, I have to see Bhagwan in those people that I love, and I have to serve them as if they are the Lord. It's not a desire, it's not a want. I have to, their needs are my needs. And thus fulfilling them is not an option.
Very succinctly put. Let me ask Hari. Do you want to add anything more to it?
Sure, Swamiji. We're talking about this on Mother's Day of all days. So the needs of our loved ones, we can't bear to see them in pain. It's something that really tears away at us. And when they have certain desires that they have, even if we feel that this is an unimportant desire, this is something that they shouldn't be even desiring of me or in general, like Aparna said, the duty is still there. And in that duty, which is non-negotiable, which is something I cannot say I don't want to do, then where are there opportunities for growth for me in that duty? Is it going to increase my threshold so I can gain more patience? Is it going to help me so that I have a better understanding of others? Because when we bump into someone on the road, we apologize so much, don't we? It's complete strangers. At home, we bump into our own family members. There's no sorry, are you okay? Nothing like that. We say, why were you in the way? And then you keep moving on. We take our family members for granted in instances like that. So when we get, and oneness is easy to have with people that I don't know, that yes, they're just like me, I love them. The people that live with you on a daily basis, try saying that every single day. Much more difficult to do. So when even those desires are being fulfilled of others that are close to us, that really tamps down our sense of individuality, makes us more humble, and that's beneficial in our growth in the long run.
Awesome. While you both were discussing, something just popped in my head. Because actually I was remembering Guruji, because he makes things, so simple and so easy to understand. This is the best way to be happy is to make our family happy. That is the easiest way to be happy. And then in Hindi he goes on to say, वो लोग चिक चिक करते रहेंगे तो you will never be happy. If people around you, it's your own immediate family, if they are constantly nagging and constantly weighing on you, you can never be at peace, you will never be happy. But if you have fulfilled your sense of responsibility towards them and you're constantly up to it, and what you covered is a very beautiful point, that you have worked at fulfilling that responsibility not as a burden, but as a seva to Bhagwan in that particular form. So that very act becomes unburdening and it becomes also a sadhana. So that was a beautiful point that you covered. I really appreciated that. Thank you for bringing that point in. So that wraps up. We had quite a few questions. Just to keep you all busy, I gave you 20 questions. Jao. Celebrate with questions. But we covered, I think, about, I would say 13, 14 questions. But we ran short of time. If I may ask Hemant, is he? Yeah. Hemant, can you please lead us with Hanuman Chalisa? Nice, peppy beat.
Yes, sure. श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारी बरनौ रघुवर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागर राम दूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन वरण विराज सुवेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्रो ध्वजा बिराजे कांधे मूंज जनेयु साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबेको आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबेको रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर समारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई। सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे, हस गई श्रीपति कंठ लगावे। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद सारद सहित अहिसा। यम कुबेर दिखपाल जहाते, कवि कोविद कह सके कहाते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीना, राम मिलाय राजपद दीना। तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना। युग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु, लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानु। प्रभु मुद्रिका मिली मुख माही, जल दिलांगी गए अचरज नाही। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम रे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे। सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी शरणा, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज सवारो आपे, तीनों लोक हाकते कांपे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा। संकट से हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम बचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों युग पर ताप तुम्हारा, है पर सिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नव निधि के दाता, सुवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुमरे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुमरे भजन राम को भावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई, हनुमत से ही सर्व सुख करे। संकट कटे मिठे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलवीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई। जो शत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूटहि बंति महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होई सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, कीजे नाथ हृदय मह डेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसौ सुर भूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय।
श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Very beautiful. Thank you, Hemant. Hari, can you lead us with 3 times of Mahamrityunjay mantra, please? Thank you.
ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्।
Let us conclude with Shanti Patha. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। Thank you all. Look forward for next week. Hang in there. Stay safe. And see you in the next satsang. Hari Om.